Hey everybody, this is Sabrina and I'm here with the Sci-Fi Sisters and welcome to another episode of our podcast called the Sci-Fi Sisters. This week, we've got a really special show and we're going to tell you how it's possible to get from Brandy to Burnham. All right. Are you ready for that? All right. We got here with us today, Yvette Blackman.
Hey.
And JD Keeling.
Ciao.
And I'm going to hand this show over to JD because this was her brainchild as she's going to walk us through how we're going to get from Brandy to Burnham. All right, JD, it's all yours.
All right. Well, I don't know if our listeners have seen the 1997 technically Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella, which was made in an effort for Disney to just really sell the fact that they had just bought ABC. I'm not even going to lie, it's completely corporate. But most people would know it better as the Brandy Cinderella. Came out on November 2nd in 1997, and it was a significant part for a lot of mostly millennials, if you ask them. But given that it garnered 60 million viewers across America, which at the time would be a third of all Americans, it probably meant a lot to some others. So to get started, what did you guys think of the film?
I loved it. I saw it when it first came out with The Wonderful World of Disney with my 2-year-old. And I always think of bonding moment with her. We had like 3 video tapes of it because it would pop, or we were always watching it. She sang every single song. She still sang it. We actually watched it on her birthday this year, and she was just elated that it was on Disney Plus. So 26 years later, and she is still celebrating the fact that Brandy was Cinderella. It still means so much to her. So.
Okay, this is Sabrina. And what I love about the Sci-Fi Sisters is that we do have this generational gap here. So we've got JD who's coming in, watching this when she was, how old, JD?
I was 6 when it first came out.
6. Okay.
Like I had just turned 6.
Okay. Yvette, you were a new mom, and this was the first version of the Cinderella by Oscar, Rodgers and Hammerstein, right? This is your first version.
Yes, the first time, yeah.
And everyone knows that Sabrina is the Star Trek OG, meaning that, yeah. So I was back there in 65 when the second version of this show came out, starring Leslie Ann Dow and Celeste Holmes and Ginger Rogers, and that was my Cinderella. So this is very interesting for me. In 97, I wasn't a new mom, but I was newly married. I didn't have any kids. And so this kind of buzzed over my head, but I did see it. I was one of the 60 million, definitely. And just to put that number in context, we're sitting here right now in the middle of all the buzz about the other Black princess, the Duchess of Sussex, and her interview with the real Black princess, Oprah Winfrey.
Exactly.
And that buzz is going all around the world. People are losing their jobs, they're losing their minds, they're making memes, everything's happening, right? But they had 17 million watching that show. So let's just put that in context. Brandy had 60 million people watching the show. So this was really huge. I was one of those 60 million because, as we said, this show didn't come back on after they made that broadcast. I loved them. I loved it. I think it was a little hard for me because I was in that mode of a lot of people and comparing it to the 65 version. But I tell you, the sets, the songs were the same. The sets were beautiful. And I thought Whitney Houston knocked it out of the park. And I give Brandy, I give her a salute. She was all right. But you know who I loved? That Prince. Prince Chris. Wow, baby. Yeah, you know how I like my Spanish men. Rios, Christopher. Well, he's Filipino. What am I talking about?
He's Filipino, yeah.
He's Filipino, yeah.
He's trying to fool me. Oh, even better. Asian and Spanish? Stop it.
Oh my God. Send all your letters to Serena.
So anyway, so to get back to JD, and yes, I enjoyed the film.
And because I didn't give my opinion.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, no, obviously I greatly enjoyed the film. I honestly, I don't think I had watched it since I was like 6, because I definitely remember watching it with my cousin back when I was living in Kansas. So like, okay, I was 6, yeah, exactly.
I know, I was gonna let it go.
My cousin was she was 8 because she's 2 years older than me. So we're both living in like Topeka, Kansas, which, I mean, at the time it was actually weirdly diverse. It was before Kansas got all weird with the Westboro Baptist Church and all that, and BTK, which is a whole different podcast, but. Like it was a weirdly diverse place. Because when I say Kansas, people think Clark Kent, Dorothy, a lot of white folks and cows. Which I mean, there were a lot of white folks and cows, but there were also black people. Okay. And at the time, I don't know if it's still true, but Kansas had a very high, well, at least Topeka had a high amount of like interracial couples. So like I had black friends, I had white friends. Those are really your two options in Kansas at the time. But you know, it was something we had all seen and we had all enjoyed. It was special to all of us.
Okay. All right. So we'll just say Kansas was cool back then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Memories of
Kansas. If you're listening, Kansas. We love you, Kansas.
That's right. Really? Okay. That's right. Reel it back in.
Kansas, cool. I got nothing against Kansas. Okay, so what else, JD? So we all love the film. We're loving Cinderella. We're loving Brandy.
Yeah, and because I know I had a lot of these. What were some moments that like stood out in the film to y'all?
Oh, I want to go. Can I go?
Go ahead.
Other than the print.
Wait. I got one. I'm like being Hermione now. I'm raising my hand. So you all know I'm a total classic film buff, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually have another brand that I talk about old movies from classic Hollywood. And I want to say my favorite moment in this movie was at the ball when Brandy and Paolo were dancing and the camera was doing a 360 move and they were spinning and waltzing. And let me tell you, I took my hat off to that scene. I don't know how many times they rehearsed that. I don't know how many times they must have shot that, but it was flawless. And I was just spinning and singing and spinning and singing. And I was like, I love him. I love her. I love him. That was my absolute favorite moment. They were terrific in that scene.
Didn't even notice.
No. It was a really hard. Go back and watch the movie.
Did not notice.
It was amazing how the camera was going around them and they were going around and the dancers were dancing. I could not figure out the staging. I was like, this is amazing.
I will have to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And they were
well, my favorite part, or my standout part, I guess, was, I don't know, the scenes. I don't know how to explain it. Everything was so colorful.
Oh, yeah.
Art direction. And I think that's what, it wasn't even just the art direction. It was everything. I mean, the food was colorful. The background, the people were colorful. Everything was diverse. It was, I think that's, every time I think of that movie, I think about that. The color of everything, you know, inanimate objects, human beings, just everything. The clothing. The clothing was, it wasn't like, it always reminds me of Neelix and Quark's clothes. You know how they always have those rich colors. well, the food too, but it just it always reminds me of that. It was, I just, that's what makes that movie so wonderful. Because it was, appealing to little kids too. So the colors would just stand out. I loved it.
It did win an Emmy.
No.
Did it?
Yeah.
Art direction won an Emmy for this movie. So it was, yes, you're correct. Absolutely correct. It was stunning.
Yeah, I totally get what you're talking about, because I know when I was watching it this morning, because I waited till the last minute, I saw that, like, even in the scene when they're going around, like, trying on all the shoes on all the feet, you have all these bright, colorful socks, and you have white feet, and you have black feet, and you have all colored feet.
Yes. Yeah, they never missed a scene where diversity in color was not the main topic. It was always there. You always understood that diversity was the main theme to this whole event. So it was wonderful.
And to that point, from what I read, it was also very intentional, seeing how Whitney Houston really, really pushed for it to be diverse and not just to have another white princess. She wanted this to be something, kind of for everyone.
Yeah.
And not even just an all black version of Cinderella.
Right.
Going the other way. So did you know that Whitney was supposed to be Cinderella originally?
Yes. And I also know that she wound up, because it got delayed. It was supposed to be made in 1993. And then by the time it was made around 1997, she said, you know what? I'm a new mom. I'm not feeling like a princess anymore. But
I get it.
I know of a young woman who would be perfect for the role, despite the fact that one of the producers was all like, maybe we should cast Jewel. No offense to Jewel, but she ain't no Brandy.
Wow, no.
All right, R&B, I love that they picked an R&B singer, and not, like we were saying before, they could have went to Broadway and got, some Broadway kid to play that, but they picked an R&B singer, which, Brandy was everything back then. She was Moesha, she had hit songs out. She was not pop. She was R&B, so yeah, I think it was perfect. And I love that Whitney picked her. So I love that.
Because Whitney was one of the co-producers. She was executive producer on this. Yeah. So Whitney picked her. Yeah. And they talked about Chase. Deborah Martin Chase is one of the other producers, and she is also well known for producing Harriet.
Yeah.
And
gotta see that thing.
A couple of other guys are in there producing too. So Craig Zandon and Neil Marone were also producers. But Deborah Martin Chase and Whitney got together on this one, and they were talking about this and wanted to make this a diverse cast Cinderella. And once the studios heard this, and they said Whitney was attached to it, money just came flying. This had a pretty hefty budget of $12 million. So, in $1997, I don't know what that is, but for a fairy tale on TV, that's
with a black princess.
With a black person,
a black princess too. Wow,
that's a lot of cashola.
Yeah.
And I guess getting back to the point of standout moments, I would have to say for me, it actually two things. The first was in the song when they're announcing the ball and they're listing the names. I love the variety of names.
Yeah.
Because it's not just all like, oh yes, it's Prince Christopher. No, it's Christopher, Rupert, Windermere, Vladimir, Carl Alexander, Francois, Reginald, Lancelot, Herman, Gregory, James.
Herman. Yeah. I love that one too.
Yeah. Whoopi gave him that name for sure.
But it's just such a diverse group of names. Yeah. So like even that, it was like a point of like, no, you're not just like this one white name. No, we're gonna hit all nationalities.
Yeah, we're gonna get them all in there. That's it. And all three of them had those kind of names: the queen, the king, and the prince. So Yeah. It was
And then my second favorite thing was just like stuck with me almost immediately was when the prince first meets Cinderella and he's talking about like, oh, I'll treat you like a princess, and she's all like, I just want to be treated like a person.
Yeah.
Like that, even now, is still like such a revolutionary thing to hear in like any sort of romantic situation where it's all, because everyone always wants to be like, oh no, I'll treat you like a king or a queen. I'm gonna put you on a pedestal. It's like no. Just treat me like a human being, and we'll be good.
This whole pump the brakes, buddy. Pump the brakes.
Yep. But that I think that's we were saying before. That's how that her not being a damsel in distress was how Disney went after that, in the timeline. So I think that's a perfect way. I think that was the perfect. I was going to say the perfect thing to get out there to young girls.
Yeah. In 1997, you're not going to be a damsel in distress anymore.
Right.
We're tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the page.
That's it. Because after that, all the princesses were pretty much, as we were saying, heroes. They saved their own selves and everybody else after that, because Mulan was next. And she definitely was not a damsel in distress. That was the whole point of the movie, So I think it kind of moved it on. Let's get away from that. Women are definitely not damsels in distress. They're out there trying to save the world just like everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the first brick that the Brandy Cinderella is going to lay down on our little trip to how we're going to get to Michael. We're going to do it, people. We're going to get you. We're going to get you there.
All right. So while we're at this awkward lull, okay, so with Brandy Cinderella, I think it aired at the Chinese theater like once. That was like the only theatrical event. It aired on ABC once, and then it was on VHS after a very strong push from Disney, because at the time a lot of film carriers didn't want to like put out this film because they didn't think anyone would buy it, and Disney had to come out and tell people, if you want the rights to our animated features from now on, you have to put out this film. So like,
wow.
Even then it did have its hurdles.
Yeah.
But as we all know, it kind of disappeared until just like this year where it came out on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. But that also kind of made it like this very nostalgic personal thing for a lot of people. So do you think the film benefited from being unavailable?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
The double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Well, you know how Disney liked to say that things were being put in the vault, and they're going to put it away for so many years. But this wasn't Disney doing that. This was other people doing it to Disney by really, not wanting to broadcast it. And the thing that always gets me about that, I think, it's taken it 20 years to benefit from it. I kind of think it's kind of like a left-handed smack benefit, but it always amazes me that when people, it's like people not believing the science, people not believing the numbers. You're seeing 60 million people tuning in to watch that. What makes you think they're not gonna buy it? You got Moesha putting out records that is selling, faster than hot biscuits. What makes you think they're not gonna buy it? You got Whitney Houston breaking records for #1 songs. What makes you think they're not gonna buy it? There's always some guy in a room someplace at the head of the studio who's thinking they're not gonna buy it. It's like, what's a dude? Like, come out of the, your turtle shell. So, based on that, I don't think it benefited. I think it nostalgically, it made it very emotional to see it come back out. But I think they lost a lot of money, and I think they cut their nose off to spite their face.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely think it did not benefit because it should have been out there, because there are people. I mean, most of us saw it, but it would have been nice to be able to see it whenever you wanted to see it. But I don't know. I think it might. I mean, it depends. I mean, now, like we were saying, you can watch it anytime you want. It'd been nice to have it every year.
If you have Disney Plus.
If you have Disney Plus, that's another thing. And then I don't think it's on anything else because it was on VHS and nobody has a VHS anymore. So, I don't know if it's actually, if you don't have Disney Plus, then you're not watching it, or you don't even know it's out there because, did they really push for it? The people who are nostalgic about it knew about it. It was like, oh, I got to see this. But if you didn't see it, are you really looking for it? I don't think Disney pushed it. I think we're pushing it.
Yeah.
I don't think Disney did a big push for it as it, came out. And I think when it first came out, they did, or when they, announced it, and then, I didn't see it anymore.
Yeah,
Disney.
It was Snow White. It was in there with Snow White.
It's in there with Snow White and
Bambi.
And Aurora and Bambi.
Yeah. Oh my God! When they put Bambi in the vault, I almost went crazy. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna put it in the vault. Like, I gotta buy Bambi. I was like 30 years old. I was getting ready to buy Bambi. Put it in the vault.
I will say for Disney, when they announced that they were putting it on Disney Plus, it was a huge deal. I'm sure they got a number of new subscribers off that.
Okay.
But then
reason why I have it.
But then there is like this whole legal backstory of who has the rights, and like even today, like while they've sorted out the whole film, like you still cannot get the album because
right
when it first came out, Brandy's record label was all like, "Ooh, no, you see, she only does R&B. We can't have people thinking she does like Broadway singing," which obviously that's
that guy
insane.
again. It's that same guy.
It's that guy again.
It's the guy who wanted to hide the show.
It's the same guy.
Just like he comes up with these pronouncements like, "Oh no," Yeah, and let's name who it was. It was Arista Records. Oh no, Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records. If you're listening, what's up with the soundtrack? Yeah. And we know you are. Where's the soundtrack? We want the Cinderella.
Where is the soundtrack? That's also pretty crazy that there's no soundtrack.
There's no soundtrack to this day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You don't want to hear me sing it because
No.
Okay. So let's go with the soundtrack. And so into the other, it was funny because Whitney Houston's label was Arista Records and Clive Davis, and they were pushing for this soundtrack to be released. And then Atlantic just got up in there. The guy came out of his office and he says, "Oh no, it's too poppy and it's too mainstream for Moesha's image, which we want to be urban." So, they were basically saying, little black girls, stay in your lane.
Yep. That's what they were saying. And that's what they did.
So you don't hear her singing In My Own Little Corner, which was my other favorite moment in that movie. I thought she did a great job. That's like my second favorite song. But I thought that was one of her best acting moments in the song. It was just a beautiful. Her voice is delicate. Brandy has a delicate voice, especially when up against Whitney Houston. And when she sang that song, that voice was perfect. So I want the soundtrack. Come on.
Let's do this.
All right. Well, obviously, I don't know if it benefited from being unavailable. I know it. In a way, it kind of made it sacred to my generation, where it's just all like, it's not something we could watch. It's just something we always had to remember and hold in our hearts until like last month.
Yeah, it's very sentimental. I know. It's same with my daughter. It's a very sentimental thing. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am a little happy. I didn't have to like grow up and listen to like randoms on Twitter being all like, "Oh, this is so bad because like, shut up, no one cares about your opinion. This is sacred."
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Because right now, that would happen. They just ruin everything. These trolls.
Yeah.
That thing would have got trolled all up and down, dragged like a dog.
You got that right. I get that. That makes it sacred. Yeah. Yep.
One of the things I loved about this is that it seemed like the whole cast was having a good time making the film. And I don't have a lot of backstories in it, but my favorite guy in there, Prince Christopher Paolo. Oh my God, I think that man was cute. He actually, put Brandy at ease because she had not done anything like this. She said that, Moesha was a TV show where they had a couple of set pieces and, you did in front of an audience, you do your lines, you go. But like I said before, there was dancing, there was movement, there was all the stuff that was going to happen. And Paolo apparently said to Brandy, "I've got you." He was an experienced Broadway actor, and I thought the two of them had instantaneous chemistry. And another time that the guy up in the office, where's this guy? I want to slap him. I think they should have been paired up again in any
something
kind
else,
of movie.
yeah.
Anyway, you make an urban movie, make an R&B movie, do whatever you got to do. Paolo could have hung with it. But they had such great chemistry. It would have been really fun to see them do something else together.
Yeah, no, that movie had, like, every part of the cast was amazing. And I have to say, like, my favorite part of it is either it's kind of a tie between Bernadette and Whoopi, because I just love whenever the two was all like,
Bernadette Peters was awesome in that movie.
And she was so awesome that they actually pulled one of the complaints I read. I go into Internet Movie Database and I always kind of do some research. And as everyone knows, I usually do the historical research for any Star Trek episode we're talking about and for this one. So I went in to read these reviews that people leave. I mean, good Lord. And I loved it when people were complaining about the fact that there were additional songs added to this version that were not in the 65 version or in the Julie Andrews version that came out in 57. And they were mad because they were like, I don't know why you would want to ruin, Rodgers and Hammerstein, because you put all these songs in it, and why are you trying to go R&B? And then it's like, dude, these are all Rodgers and Hammerstein songs.
Yep.
One of the stipulations from the organization when they were going to make this movie was that if they added any other music, it had to come from the Rodgers and Hammerstein portfolio. And so the big song that Bernadette Peters gets, because she was a huge Broadway star, and they decided that there was no real song for the stepmother to sing. They were going to get her a song. So they went and they found a song in the portfolio for Bernadette to sing. So I just love that they did that, because I too love her in that. And that song is really important too. And here's another brick coming down in that foundation, because she sings that song where she's telling her daughters falling in love with love. And that, you really shouldn't just fall in love like that. You shouldn't fall in love with love. She was just making this whole thing like, don't do this just because you want to be in love. It was just a great song. If you listen to those words, it was like another, empowerment kind of thing. Like, this isn't the reason, even though she was kind of cynical about it.
She was cynical about it. Yeah,
but it was a message, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just gonna, some people, they just want to get married because they can have a wedding.
Happily ever after. Yeah. It's not always happily ever after.
Yeah, but I love that Bernadette got a big solo.
Yeah. It was great. It was very intelligent too, because I think that song also showed her what she had went through and how she fell in love. And then she decided the next time she fell in love, she's going to fall in love for money and make it work for her and her daughters. So there was a lot of little gems in a lot of those songs. And I don't know, you got to watch it a few times to like most great films, or you have to. There's a lot of messages in there. You got to really poke.
There really were. I think there were a lot of messages that you may not have picked up. If you think the story of Cinderella, watching this movie, I think it was a little bit deeper message that just kind of went past you, because it was such a beautiful, colorful, wonderful film that if you slow it down and really watch it, it was really something.
Yeah.
But one other thing I noticed is that I thought this film was reminiscent to me, like watching it now again, that opening scene in the marketplace. I thought it was so much like, I don't know, the Belle, Beauty and the Beast, you know, the one.
Yes.
And they had almost the same kind of scene where it was like in the open market. They were, you know, moving camera. They were tracking. I'll go. They get a little very little film technical. They were tracking shot. They were running around. They were dancing, and they were just like all over this huge set. And it just reminded me so much of, you know, the Beauty and the Beast live action movie that we just saw. And I said, you know, Disney just said, oh yeah, that really worked. And even if anybody saw Jingle Jangle this December, there was that whole big, you know, sort of like, you know, just dancing in the street stuff that a lot of people complained about, because the original staging of the Cinderella version had always been on a closed TV set.
Right.
But this movie decided to open it up, and I thought it worked well. I really did. I enjoyed it.
They did a wonderful job of making it an event. You know, it was the thing that you wanted to see when the Wonderful World of Disney came back on. You know, so
that's the point. This was the bringing back the Wonderful World of Disney for those of us that are my age.
And mine.
Okay.
And mine, because I watched the Wonderful every Saturday night. Yeah. It was a mainstay, you know. But to bring that back and to have just that grandiose opening scene, and Jason Alexander, you know, doing his thing, because we know him at that time. I guess he was on Seinfeld, and you know, he's a big time Broadway actor. So this was like he was in his element. I loved it. Right, and I did not watch Seinfeld. I'm probably the only person on this earth who has never watched.
Well, here's the other person.
Okay,
I've seen not one episode of Seinfeld.
I've seen pieces, you know, like memes, but I do know that he was comical in that movie, in that show. But I do know him as a Broadway actor, and you know, he was another one that, just like Bernadette Peters. They made the movie. You know, I think them and the two stepsisters were probably my favorites. You know, and just seeing Whoopi was everything.
Oh, and let's have a little shout out for Minerva, the actress that played Minerva, because her name is Natasha Dessal Reed.
I think so, yes.
And she was also in the movie BAP. She just recently passed away back in December after a long battle of cancer. So I just want to give a shout out to her family. She was amazing in this film. I thought she almost stole the movie from Brandy.
She really did, because she was hilarious. All her scenes were great. My God. Where did she come from? I love that.
Love it. But she started scratching. So Minerva, and Calliope was actually good too. She really reminded me of Carol Burnett. And
she really did.
Everybody was so good. Yeah, it was that like crazy. I thought it was like, I kept looking like, is that her daughter or niece? I mean, who is this woman?
Right. They were a great pair. They were a really great pair.
And black and white sisters. And it was just like, okay, yep, that's just what it is. Okay.
Yes. And I think that took a lot off of, I think I was reading that it took a lot off Bernadette Peters' character being the white evil stepmother to a black stepdaughter. And, you know, it just showed that the color had nothing to do with it, because she had a black daughter who she thought was better than Brandy just because she was her daughter. You know, so I think that, because I never thought about it. And then when I was watching it this time, I was like, oh, they got a white. That's kind of weird. But then it just kind of went away because I didn't think about it anymore. When I first, you know, was watching it again, and then I didn't. I was like, well, she has a black daughter, so yeah, it'll be okay. Minerva.
Yeah.
And Calliope.
All right. So, would you say, kind of taking it away from Brandy, slowly moving into topic 2, would you say things are improving regarding representation in like fantasy and sci-fi, or do you think this was just like a perfect storm that we'll probably never see again?
Oh no, I think right now, you know, I just had a feeling earlier today. There was some other sci-fi thing got announced today, and I was like, golly, like they're just going crazy. They just like open the fire hose now. But I think there's a lot of great stuff coming out, you know, especially from the UK. where Umbrella Academy and stuff like that, where they have these diverse casts. I love it. I mean, I think Black Mirror has done a lot of great stuff. So I think they all kind of owe a little debt to Brandy being that Black princess coming in and being the star of the show, being the lead. And I think that's kind of the difference, that they've put Blacks in things, and you may be like that character that you're coming along for the ride, you're in the back seat of the car, but Brandy was the lead on that sheet, and that was the key. She was the princess, she was the beautiful one, she was the number one on the call sheet, and that, I think, is something that we may have just come back to in these later years here, just now.
Yeah. I think this was 1997, and we didn't see really. I mean, it happened. It was great. It got shelved, but it didn't. It didn't just in TV. It didn't really change much right away.
Right.
I think it was a catalyst, but it didn't change. But what did happen was that things for girls changed after this. And I don't know if Brandy's portrayal of Cinderella had anything to do with it, because it happened right away. But it was Brandy and these things happening, in the world. Little girls saw themselves, these the Olympics were happening right afterwards. Janeway was on the bridge of Voyager. It was just a culmination at that time. Little girls were seeing themselves in these powerful positions.
WNBA.
And I think that helped. WNBA started the same year.
Yeah.
And the year before that, the national team, the soccer, women's soccer was like a big deal. So all these things were kind of happening along. So, not only were their mothers getting excited and seeing, things happen that change. Little girls were seeing this. This was something that was normal to them. JD was saying before how, she was 6. So all this stuff was happening as she was in grade school, and so when I was in grade school, no, this wasn't a thing. It was not a thing. That my role models were in my house, not on TV. So this was nice. This was, so you had your role models in your house, and then when you watch TV, maybe everybody wasn't Black, but the girls were doing things. Women were doing things that they weren't doing before. So I think maybe that was kind of the ball that was rolling at that time, and we started. And I think that's the benefit is now where we're going now, because the people making all this new sci-fi were little girls at that time, or little boys at that time, because it affected boys also, of course, because they were watching TV too. So this is what's going on now in sci-fi and in TV is, those little kids that were watching Brandy Cinderella, because remember, a bunch of us was watching that. So
I think what you just said goes back to what JD said when we were doing the show on Uhura, and how, you said, JD, the Uhura, that you remembered her for TOS, but she was just, on the bridge, and you wanted her to do something. And so I think that's exactly what you're seeing now in 97. Here are the women coming in and saying, no, I don't just want to be loved, and I want to be loved for this reason or that reason. And I want this and I want that. And rescuing me, and all this stuff is starting to happen in 1997. It's taken a while since the burning of the bras back in the day. But it's happening as always, it's kind of sneaking up on us. But so I think one of the things we wanted to talk about a little bit more too, is how it connects on in this historical sense. So what's your next question there, JD? You had another question about that? Oh no, we were talking about, the continuation of that historical Black woman. And then we have the movie in 2013, which was actually made by a Nigerian woman as a director, called Belle, where we see Another historical reference, and here is a Black woman who's playing an aristocrat in London society back in the 1800s. And this caused a little wave when I remember this came out, and everybody was just like, oh, well, that really couldn't happen, and blah, 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 blah. But it was based on an actual painting that was a real life painting. This is a real life person. And Gugu Mbatha Raw, her beautiful self, will somebody please give this woman more to do, plays Belle, who, like Brandy's princess, she's rich. She's she's not, Brandy didn't start off, Cinderella didn't start off rich, and neither did this woman. She is an orphan, like Cinderella found herself to be, an orphan. And she is taken into this house, and this is a distant relatives, and grows up in riches and everything, and realizes that she's Black and she's got to make her way in this society. But then they find out that she's an heiress, and things all change. So it's a very interesting take on the Black woman as princess. And I'm gonna put it in there as a little marker. From Brandy's Cinderella, we're going to go over to 2013 to Belle. And JD, I think you saw this movie too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it for all the wrong reasons, because there is an English by the name of Matthew 3, and absolutely. And he played the father, so I was like, yeah, no, I'll watch him. Right. So yeah, I saw Belle, but for all the wrong reasons, because there is an absolutely lovely actor named Matthew Good. He's 6'3", absolutely gorgeous, and he played her father in the beginning of the film, and I don't remember much beyond him. Not gonna lie.
Because he's only in the first 10 minutes of the film. That's why.
Yeah, that could be why. I watched a lot of bad films because a lot of gorgeous men were in the first 10 minutes.
Dies.
Okay?
Hence the orphan thing.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
See, dead when we met him.
He's dead when we met him.
Like I said.
Yeah, just like Cinderella, her father is gone and her mother is gone, and here is Belle trying to make her way through the world, but she does have a mentor that takes her under his wing. So we have that similarity with Cinderella and Belle, and then we're gonna.
Cinderella's mentor is the godmother, right?
Cinderella's mentor is the godmother, yes.
Fairy godmother. Yeah.
Fairy godmother. And then in Belle, it's her grandfather. He really tells her that she's as good as anybody else, even though he knows that she's going to have a hard way to go in this society. And it's a very interesting relationship. So it's a cool movie to watch because it does have some historical background, but then she falls in love too, and it's wonderful. But interesting, and it tells the backstory of when the UK abolished slavery. So that's the underlying story in that movie. So we're going to move it on to the connection between Belle and Shondaland and JD. We get to what? Our favorite, well, my favorite, Bridgerton, which I watched for all the wrong reasons.
Definitely your favorite.
You watched for all the wrong reasons, too.
All the wrong reasons.
Look, sometimes you need to watch things for the wrong reasons.
Yep. I watched a couple of scenes over and over again for the wrong reasons. But so in 2017, the film production group of Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston sat down at Shondaland to talk about the production of Cinderella. And then, I don't know, 3 years later, we get Bridgerton. So I think that something rubbed off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was that.
I think.
Let's put a disclaimer there. I did not watch this show, but people in my house have watched it many, many times. So I know what's been going on, and I know why you were watching it for the wrong reasons.
Hello.
But I think when we were talking about this, the first thing I thought was that colorblind type of casting that they did in Cinderella. It was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody was cast, no matter what you look like, as long as you were good for the part, you got the role. So
exactly.
I that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that.
See, I thought similar things, except I thought Bridgerton did it so much worse. Because honestly, if you look at the cast for Bridgerton, you have like 4 or 5 Black people in a cast of white people. And yes, like they are definitely like the leads and very important characters, but like compared to something like Brandy, Cinderella, where it was clear it's like every other person is either Black, and you have some Asian people, and it's just like a whole melting pot. Like I can see where the inspiration came from, but they also are clearly bogged down in the general unwillingness of Hollywood in 2020.
Yeah, they didn't want to be shelved like Brandy Cinderella was.
Uh-oh.
So
they were looking out for that guy. That guy was going to come out of the room. He's going to come out of the office again.
That's right. And it probably wasn't a guy this time.
Right. Yeah. Too many Black people in there. Oh, right. Nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
But that's an interesting point, JD. You're saying that even though, the Duke of Hastings is the biggest thing coming out of that whole show, he is only one of 4 Black people on that entire cast.
Wow.
And so we have Queen Charlotte. So we do have another Black, we have another Black royal, which I do want to give a shout out. I'm sorry, I don't remember the actress's name, but she was like really my second favorite character in Bridgerton.
Yeah, she's the one I heard about.
Her name is Golda Rocheville. I'm probably pronouncing the last name wrong.
She was. I loved her looks. I loved the costumes. I loved the way she delivered those lines. She was definitely regal, and I just ate her up with a spoon, man. She was it. So I think
I will say, I gotta say, like while we're on the subject of Netflix fries, the one thing that actually reminded me of the Brandy Cinderella, although it very much was not a diverse cast at all, would have to be Jingle Jangle. It definitely carries that same spirit.
Yeah. I think far more so than any other. I think Jingle Jangle really does remind you of Brandy's production or Whitney's production of Cinderella, where big numbers, colorful, every other person is Black or white. If they had Asian people in it, there were Latinas in this. They had even like same-sex couples were walking around in London. I mean, they had everybody in the Jingle Jangle. So if you have not seen that one, please do if you want to get a taste of what a real diverse class looks like. And it just makes you very happy. And just as you said with Cinderella, there was one scene in Cinderella where they were at the ball and everyone was dancing and they were all wearing all different shades of blue, but the dancers were all different colors. And it was just joyous watching that scene. And they were they were all having so much fun. So we brought it from Cinderella, who is an orphan and has a fairy godmother that tells her that she has everything she needs in her and that she should just go out and do her thing. And then we have Belle, who is also an orphan, who has her protector mentor, who tells her that she's everything that she needs and blah, 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 falls in love with the wonderful guy at the end and lives happily ever after, but with some cash in her own name. And then we go to Bridgerton and we have the gracious Queen Charlotte, who's running the whole show. She's got the crazy ass husband in the back room, but she's the one that's really got the power and the money and the title. And we're loving this. We're totally loving this.
Power.
And so I think this brings us all the way to the 33rd century because we've got to get Star Trek in this show somehow.
Speaking of orphans.
Right.
And we did it. We got from Brandy to Burnham.
Drum roll, please.
Here's the other black orphan who's got a mentor.
You know what? I'm going to stop you there, Sabrina.
What?
Because I know where you're going. No, I just thought of a much better thing.
Oh, okay.
Michael is a Star Trek Cinderella. Like, she loses her parents. She's taken in by Sarek, who very much puts his own child before her. Like, he loves her with all his heart, but he's still like...
He's the evil
stepfather. He's the evil Vulcan stepfather.
Look, I didn't say there's a lot of love in his heart. I just said he loves her with all of it.
Okay. All right, keep going. Keep going.
And you know what? She does. She manages to get away from Vulcan. She makes her own path. She finds true love with Book, which, you know, I mean, he's no prince, but, you know, he's so cute. He got a queen with him.
Yo, whoa. That's right. He's got a queen with him.
He's got a queen.
And she has a fairy godmother in
Jojo.
Yes.
Yep.
Either way, in either timeline.
Either timeline. She's got a fairy godmother who in Terra Firma told her, just as Whitney said to Brandy, you have everything you need. You should take that captain's chair.
From them fools.
And so, yes, listeners, we have brought you from Brandy to Burnham.
Oh my God. It took that long to get from Brandy's braids to Burnham's braids.
Burnham's braids. And
that's how long it took for everyone to get braids again.
And as the captain of the Discovery, she is now sitting where she always needed to be, in her own little corner. In her own little center seat, baby.
Center seat. Right. Let's fly. Right.
We did it. We made it.
It only took 3 seasons, but Star Trek showed it's possible.
Well, you know,
it's possible.
It's possible. Okay. Are we ready? Are we gonna sing? It's possible.
It's possible.
For a poor little.
Go ahead, you sing.
No, we'll wait for the soundtrack. Thank you.
Nope. We did. That's right. We need that soundtrack. Who's listening? Who's listening, Sabrina?
Arista? No. Atlantic.
No,
Records?
Atlantic.
Yeah. Atlantic Records. If you're listening, if you don't want Sabrina
to
sing,
you are.
You need to get this out. I mean, come on now. Whitney's passed, man. Let's go. Right. Let's get this out.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's our show, right? Have we done it?
I think so. I mean,
and it's our story, and we're sticking with it.
Yeah, I think it was a great subject, JD. I think that was perfect. I mean, because like you said, that Brandy's Cinderella means it's very sentimental to people, and you know, some people might not get it, but it means a lot to people. I know it does, and just from you bringing it up, I know it does.
Yeah.
As I think Michael taking that cap.
And I will, you know, it's just about showing people what's possible, how you can achieve your goals, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I gotta say,
the only thing I think we need to put out there is that the line that in the song that says impossible things are happening every day. That's basically what sci-fi is all about. The writers, we were saying the writers that write sci-fi now are putting that stuff out there, and it's happening. You know, people are watching little girls become captains, little black girls with braids become captains on starships, you know, all kinds of things. So impossible things happen every day. So.
Oh no, it's not important anymore. She had a great ending. I'm gonna let the ending happen.
No. Keep going. What are you gonna say? You come up with a jewel.
You always come with the jewels.
I was just gonna quote, I believe, Arthur C. Clarke, who said that magic is just science we don't understand yet.
Okay.
That was it. Yeah.
So we've come from Arthur C. Clarke's magic that we don't understand yet, all the way to science. Well, actually, warp drive that we still don't understand yet. But We've done it. So thank you, Sci-Fi Sister JD, for this great topic. And thank you, Yvette, for walking me through it and making me watch Cinderella again after all these years. I had so forgotten that I'd seen it. We want to say another shout out to our two missing sisters, Fran Taylor and Harper, who are busy doing other things. But they will be back on our next podcast. And tell us where you can find us, Yvette.
Sure. You can find us at sci-fisistas.com. That's SYFYSISTAS.com. And you can join us on the Mothership on Facebook. That's MUTHASHIP, or the Sci-Fi Sisters Book Club, both on Facebook. On Instagram, we're sci-fi.sisters. And on Twitter, at Sci-Fi Sisters.
Okay, and that's it for us today. And we want to just wish you peace, love, and hair grease. Good night.